Tips to be successful in real estate when you're out house hunting. I was reading some reviews for a colleague of mine, and I was so impressed that so much of the feedback talked about how fun the process was and how enjoyable it was to work with this real estate professional. But I was thinking there, I've known this person for a really long time and they're not always effective. But heck, I want to be fun, and it's nice to be fun, but effective is also super important. Making good use of people's time, super important. Something else I read in the feedback was, it took a couple of years for the house to look for the house that we were looking for, and I'm so grateful that it was a fun process throughout. Here are my tips for success. First things first, number one, you can have a lot of fun going out touring homes, but it's really important to have your eyes and ears open. So tip number one is keeping your eyes and ears open means listening to the sounds in the neighborhood. Can you hear that barking, nagging dog a couple of doors down? And if that's annoying today on your tour, believe me, when you're living in the house and it's 7 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday, it's going to be a lot more annoying. Keeping eyes open is also scanning the perimeter of a room, which I always do out of habit, and also the floor of the room, looking for stains, signs of moisture, signs of truss lift at the top, looking for things that you wouldn't ordinarily focus on. Stop looking straight in front of you and start looking all around you. A really good professional will do that on a tour. It can be fun, but it also needs to be educational, and we need to have our thinking caps on when we're touring houses. And the reality is sometimes you might find a house that you love, but you were not paying so much attention, and you want to write an offer on a house that you really didn't take in. So here's my tip. Eyes open, take it all in, but pay attention the first time. It's a serious business, and it's a serious transaction you're about to make. Poker face, so important. If a seller is going to be home for showings, or a tenant is going to be home for showings, or somebody's going to be home while you're touring that home, it's important to keep a poker face. You don't want to tell the seller how much you love their home. It isn't yours yet. And remember, being very nonchalant about something or indifferent can help you succeed. Sometimes with seniors, if a senior is present, it does help to say, I love your home, it's beautiful, compliment them on their home. But remember, we don't want to fall in love, because that's where the shakedown of a listing agent shaking down your pockets tends to happen. So poker face, but polite and lovely, but we don't fall in love with real estate until it's past the inspection or we've got the financing and it is ours. It's not yours. And because it's 2024, remember, the Ring doorbell sees everything. Whatever device they've got at the door, when you guys are like, we love it, we're going to offer 1.5, sellers have already heard you. And when you go in trying to negotiate 1.425, I'm telling you, they're still watching that recording telling their agent that they said 1.5 on camera. Another tip when you're looking for a home is to be really careful when you're running comparables as an agent and as a buyer. Don't just rely on what the agent is giving you. Use common sense. Put your thinking cap on and ask yourself, this house that the agent is telling me is comparable to this house that I'm standing in right now. They're not comparables. They're not even in the same areas. So we've got to compare the same type of product to the general area nearby where this property sits. We call it comparables. Running comps have to be done within a specific area for them to make sense. You can't compare Scarborough to Mississauga. You can't compare Ajax to Uxbridge. You can't compare downtown waterfront condos to Ajax. You just can't. You want to have somebody who is skilled and proficient at running comparables so that they can make sense of them, and you too can have the trust that the decision you're making price-wise with your offer is one that's strong and sensible. So we can have a lot of fun, but it's super serious too. Another tip for success, and one of the most important ones, is to drive the neighborhood by day and by evening. Get familiar with the sights and sounds and the demographics of the neighborhood. Are you really young to be in this neighborhood, and do you find yourself in a neighborhood with a lot of seniors and retirees and you're concerned about whether you might fit in? Those things can usually be discovered if you take a drive down at different times where you see young children at play or seniors out for a walk, and really ask yourself, is this an area where I want to hang my hat at night and where I belong?